Is CJC-1295 better than Sermorelin? And this is a great question because practitioners argue about this. I see you guys in the comments arguing about it. What's better, CJC or Sermorelin? Well, the honest answer, it depends on what you're optimizing for and whether you understand the pharmacokinetic difference, what it actually means. And so one, we're going to talk about kind of the similarities. And then we'll talk about some of the pulsatility profiles and how there's different safety records and regulatory statutes around these. So choosing without understanding these is like prescribing an antibiotic without identifying the pathogen. You're just playing guessing games. So I'm Regan Archibald. I'm the founder of Ageless Future. I make these videos because I want you to be at your peak optimization when it comes to your health, no matter what age you are. And I believe that with some of these new medical innovations like peptide therapy, like regenerative medicine, the future is just going to get better and better. But we have to be the ones to own that. We need to be the ones to educate ourselves. So I appreciate you being on the channel. Please leave a comment below. Love to see what your experience was. Did you do better on CJC or Sermorelin? And what didn't you like about the peptides? What did you notice as far as side effects go? And so in this video, we'll deconstruct that. And by the end, you'll know exactly whether or not CJC-1295 is best for you or Sermorelin. So the first thing we have to identify is DAC versus no DAC, because that's the real difference. And I mentioned this in a previous video, but Brian Johnson, love your work, but you did CJC without DAC, and you have more data and more ways of looking at your physiology than many of us have access to or ever will. And so please do us all a favor and just do CJC-1295 and maybe add a little Ipamorelin on there. And let's look at your markers, your biometrics, just doing that. And I know you had tirzepatide in there, so curious to see how you did on that. And love to see something on retatrutide. Okay, so DAC is the drug affinity complex, and that can extend the half-life of CJC by like 8 to 10 days. Growth hormone is cyclical, so you only want little pulses of growth hormone, then you want it silenced. The reason why I like using growth hormone in the peptide version versus an exogenous hormone is because it's just pulsing growth hormone in a natural way. And if you overexpress growth hormone, you end up having enlarged organs and you put too much growth on the human body, and that puts a lot of pressure on the heart, pressure on the kidneys, and seems to possibly promote cancer. So just using pulses of growth hormone, that's where you can get the benefits. You can have your cake and eat it too. So, okay, let's talk about what was published in the Journal of Endocrinology and Metabolism in 2006. They took 20 healthy men, CJC, and they wanted to see what it would do. And they found that with the DAC, it covalently and permanently binds to the circulating albumin upon injection. Now, albumin is the most abundant protein in the blood, and it has a 19-day half-life. Binding to it extends CJC-1295's half-life from approximately 10 minutes of the native growth hormone-releasing peptide. Remember, I talked about pulsing, to 8 to 10 days. And so if your whole metric was, will Sermorelin or CJC-1295 increase growth hormone more? Well, all you have to do is just add DAC, and you're gonna see a much higher spike in growth hormone over time. But despite this continuous growth hormone releasing hormone receptor for 7+ days, growth hormone pulsatility was fully preserved. So pulse frequency, 3.5 versus 3.6 peaks per night. Those peak amplitudes were unchanged, but IGF-1 rose 44% and stayed elevated for at least 7 days from a single injection. So it's where maybe safer. There's another peptide, modified GRF-129, and its half-life is approximately 30 minutes. And that's what we found, that one's a lot closer to what Sermorelin does. It's about a 30-minute pulse. CJC-1295, that pulse, it goes up pretty high for about 7 to 15 minutes, and then you start to see it drop. But people like CJC-1295 because you get this little flushing effect. You can tell it's working. And I noticed from a cognitive perspective, the CJC seems to be a little stronger than Sermorelin. But once again, You tell me what you've noticed in some of your own prescriptions. I know there's a lot of medical providers watching this, so love to hear what your insights have been. In the clinical interventions study that was published in Aging in 2006, they found that with Sermorelin, and the half-life was roughly 10 to 20 minutes, so a little under that 30 minutes. And this was a lower dose, but it did require daily or nightly injections, which some people didn't like. So that's where they went to the CJC-1295 with DAC. But they found that with Sermorelin, it preserved growth hormone pulsatility through the normal negative feedback regulation by somatostatin. So remember, somatostatin, that's the natural brakes. It stops the growth hormone from running for too long. And that built-in ceiling is a meaningful safety feature. But pulsatility, it matters because you don't want your growth hormone pulsed all the time throughout the day. You want it to come in bursts, like during deep sleep. You also are going to get this nice pulse of growth hormone after an intense physical activity, like especially the high intensity interval training or downhill mountain biking, which is my favorite form of high intensity interval training. Deer Valley, come hang out with me. Let's put some CJC in our body, and then we'll see how fast we can go down these forests or fire swamp, or how much air we can get on a tsunami or tidal wave. So if you think about it, you want pulses, and then you're going to see the somatostatin kick in, and you'll see flattening. And one of the reasons why a lot of times we use CJC-1295 with Ipamorelin, because it gives you just a little bit longer of a pulse on the growth hormone pathway, so your pituitary gets a little kick. Now, one of the downsides of using either Sermorelin or CJC is it does have a shorter half-life, but just by that extra increase of that growth hormone pulse, guess what's going to happen to your hunger? That's right, you're going to eat everything but the paint off the walls. And so you're going to be just like you were when you were a teenager. And so if you need some appetite increase, this is a perfect combination for you. But if not, then you may want to be careful. And that's where Ipamorelin can sometimes subdue a little bit of that appetite. But you may also want to consider like tirzepatide or something on the GLP-1 pathways if you're looking to really get leaned out and get some definition in your muscles. CJC and Sermorelin are phenomenal. The CJC, once again, if you're using it without DAC, you're going to have very similar profiles and outcomes as the Sermorelin does. If you're somebody who does not like that flushing, if you have more of an immunogenic risk, I would steer clear of CJC and just go Sermorelin. Or I would just try something like Tesamorelin, or there's Ipamorelin or Hexarelin. There's a bunch of different peptides that work on the growth hormone pathways. If you just want the strong long-term growth hormone and you're just going to throw caution to the wind, then what I would say is that's where CJC with DAC. I mean, that's where you're going to have the most extended growth hormone elevation, but watch your insulin sensitivity, because with just like Brian Johnson's video, you'll see growth hormone, it can increase your body's insulin resistance over time. And so this is where pulsing is important. This is where doing it in a fasted state becomes really important. And for those of you who want to do it the right way, you want to find out exactly what your body needs, the best way to do it is work with a team of licensed providers who understand peptides. They get it from 503A compounding pharmacies. If you can get Sermorelin or CJC on your own online, it is from a research use only facility. But all you need to do to get access to a team of brilliant medical providers who care about your health and care about your future, and they'll educate you on what peptide is right for you. Just go to agelessfuture.com and then get your blood labs ran, and my team will take great care of you. I'm Regan Archibald. Appreciate you being on the channel. See you on the next show.